All right, make some noise for Danny Solis.
Just take the school part off, and that applies to me and Javier. No, but you know what? Dennis Smith. Dennis Smith. Can you give another round of applause? I've only seen that poem on YouTube, and now I just saw it, and now I have to follow it, so fucking A. Like, how do you follow that? Well, you know, I've been thinking a lot about what poem to do for this particular reading, and at the last minute I remembered something that Buddy Ray McNeese told me a long time ago, as I was headed to the stage one time, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and he stopped me in the middle of a crowd at the Cantab, and he hugged me, and he whispered in my ear, and he said, just show them who you are, man. Just show them who you are. So here it is. I was walking the University of New Mexico under the pines, cutting through the perfect mountain air, searching the shadows for the bloodstains from the riots, student-led anti-war demonstrations when Mexican-American guardsmen bayoneted Chicano students, having traded obsidian blade and Toledo steel for oiled and honed army issue and fixed position, point and thrust, and the blood blossomed from earth-brown skin, and that was less than 30 years ago when I was tracking down those puddles so I could put my fingers into them like some kind of coagulated holy water blood pudding, and maybe I could put in my thumb and pull out a heart. Chemanahuac, city of the Aztecs, heart of the one world, beating like a gory jewel in the undulating copper sun of my dreams, and I lost focus, vertigo unfurling when a hand gripped my shoulder hard. I opened my eyes, and there he was, in the dream flesh, Cesar Chavez, el mero mero del movimiento chicano. Pues, ¿qué diablos tienes, vato? He asks me. And I think, my dance card of demons is way too long to list, but before I can answer, he punches me in the gut, a beautiful right that knocks me on my ass and leaves me struggling for breath. He stands over me, radiating that terrible, sweet saint's intensity, eyes pools of onyx fire, glittering love and destruction. I thought you were nonviolent, I gasped. You call that violence, he asks? Sincerely amused and appalled, the only violence here is your immense ignorance, pendejo. Dip your fingers into the blood of the dried up blood of students? What crap? Why not go for fresh blood? Dip your fingers into the blood of Zapatistas dying in the jungles of Chiapas. Dip your fingers and hands into the shattered dreams of immigrants being hounded by the Border Patrol, coyotes in La Migra. Dip your fingers, hands, arms into all of the sangre chicano being spilled by gangs, the cops and clicas in the streets and callejones of Dallas, Chicago, LA, Albuquerque, and Minneapolis. You think it stopped flowing just because the PBS special ended? Just because you quit thinking about it? Just because there was no one around to yell, Viva la raza, and wake you up? He grabbed my face and shoved it into a mirror and said, that's violence. Every day you don't speak the language of your grandmothers and your grandmother's grandmothers. That's violence. And I knew he was right. And I turned to him, but he was gone, and in his place was Santos Rodriguez, a wavering 12-year-old angel with half his head blown away by the Dallas police, and I trembled as he took my hand, and we flew backwards, rose into the air, and we flew backwards. Mexico City, 1968, students machine-gunned in the bloody streets, and we rose higher. Napalm's victims, Vietnam, and we rose higher. LA riots, smoke and fire, furnace, and we rose higher, all the way to a valley in northern Mexico at the beginning of the last century, where the troops of Pancho Villa were encamped, where Adelitas, Amazonian mestizas of legendary courage and ferocity, sat, oiling rifles, honing machetes, while the men prepared atole, tortillas, and tamales. Unself-conscious role reversal, because revolution is more important than And And Santos sets me down face to face with El General Francisco Villa, Dorotea Arango, and he is grinning with a humor full of danger. And in the silence, I realize no one is saying a word, and everyone is staring at me, waiting. And Villa's face changes to the face of a child, waiting to be taught to read in English and Spanish. And a voice in my head says, "Welcome to the revolution, cabrón."